Here we see 6 objects created for us already. I'll use these objects to demonstrate the Morph Tool. So by clicking on 2 objects, I can create an intermediate or interpolated object between them. Now these are polygonal spheroids. I could also use NURBS objects like these spindles, or even dissimilar objects like a smooth sphere and a faceted cube. Notice how the edges of that cube slowly smooth out as it transitions into that sphere. Next, I'll use the Morph tool to create an umbrella for this picnic table that opens and closes. So let me turn on some lines. I'll wrap a NURB surface over those lines to create a closed version of the umbrella. I'll do the same with another set of lines. I'll wrap a NURB surface over those, and that'll create an opened umbrella. Next, I'll turn both of those objects on at the same time, and I'll use my Morph tool to interpolate between the open and closed versions of that umbrella. Notice I can control to what degree either object influences that morph object. You can actually keyframe that percentage or influence between the 2 original objects. And then I'll use my Morph tool to start the umbrella at a closed position at time 0. I'll go forward to about 2.5 seconds and use that Morph tool to open the umbrella back up. Last, I'll go to about 5 seconds and then close that umbrella back down. Now as I scrub through here in the timeline, you can see how that animated percentage controls the shape of that umbrella. We will create the onion domes for this cathedral using the Deform tool. You can see I have a picture of that cathedral mapped into the background. The first thing I'll create is a faceted cylinder. So let me build that circle out, extrude that up to a height of about 22 feet. Next, I'll use the mesh tool. This will add some more segments vertically. That'll give me a smoother object when I finally do use the Deform tool. Next, with the Deform tool, I'll put a twist on this first. You can twist that as many times as you want, or you can even key in a specific rotation like 90 degrees. I'll use the taper, and this will bring that top down to a point. And I'll even use a bulge to make that appear to bulge outwards there in the middle, just like our real onion dome. Now I only did this from one direction because I want to demonstrate another tool or feature, the Edit Parameters tool. This will give me a limited construction history of the deforms that I've applied to the object. Not only that, I can change some of the parameters of those deformations. I can even add more deformations like a spread or a disturbed point normals, for example. And you can also remove them after they've been added. I'll add a radial bend. You can change some of the parameters to affect that. You can even turn on or off or enable or disable the different deformations to see their effect on the object immediately. So next I want to build a pyramid off of each of the faces of this object. So let me set that to a height of about 1 foot. I want to go perpendicular to the surface, and then when I click on that object, I've built a little pyramid on each of those faces. Now I'll bring back that original object, and I want to make a little frame around each of the segments of this object. So let me use this tool. I'll go and close off the center of the segment, give it a width and height of 4 inches. I'll click on that object and notice that every segment has now been formed into a solid beam. You can animate deforms as well. So notice we have a bulge applied to this white object that animates the extent to which it's bulged. These animated deforms are not applied to or attached to a single object. You can actually drag multiple objects into the same bulge parameters. So notice that they're both bulging with the same amount. You can even nest these deformations one inside the other. So notice now we have a bulge, taper, and twist all animated and applied to both these objects. Now they apply themselves consistently between multiple objects, so you could put one on top of each other and notice that since they're being scaled by the same amounts or deformed by the same amounts, they will appear to deform as though they are one piece. Here we have an animation created using those animated deformations. You can see that the blue and white dome is animated as shown previously. The other domes have their surface tiles animated. So notice the red and blue dome on the far right has an eroded surface tile, and the amount of erosion is actually animated over time. The other ones have some of their transparency animated to change over time. You can even change the hue or the shade of a surface tile. Just about any parameter within a surface tile can be animated over time.